Can you tell us a little bit about what do you know about science with rats and this blood-brain barrier? It is damaging the blood-brain barrier.
Yeah, again, that's a very, very interesting area. And there are scientists here in Sweden who have studied it, but also elsewhere in the world. And it has been replicated many, many times. And to make a long story short, what we're talking about is a functional barrier between the blood and the brain tissue. And since I'm a neuroscientist, I can tell you, you don't want to have any leakage in that barrier. But if you expose rats for as short as 1 minute of exposure, and at a level which is 5,000 times below what you and I are supposed to withstand, then you see immediately this kind of rather dramatic leakage. Again, you can start thinking about what would that mean. And as you know, there are a lot of reports from the world regarding, for instance, children and teenagers having learning problems, concentration problems. They could have problems with various intellectual capacities. There have been studies, for instance, with language learning going down when they are exposed to these kind of fields. And in the long-term run, you can also think about, concentration capacity illnesses like AHDH and Alzheimer for the elderly, etc. There are so many question marks here. And while we are talking about it, of course, all countries are exposing the whole population 24/7, day and night, wherever they are, whatever they do, they are constantly exposed. And not only the humans, basically all the other 8.7 million species are also exposed. And I do hope that when the science is concluded in the future, that it will turn out that it was safe. As I said before, that would mean that everyone could come back and say, hey, we take responsibility for these gadgets. But today, no one wants to do that.
Yes, they will not take the responsibility because they know that this is man-made.
Yeah, and as you remember, I told you that in 2002 in London at the conference, and that was kind of a public meeting. So there were a lot of media and others present, and these findings have been presented in Swedish newspapers for many, many times. And the industry, like the insurance industry, they were completely open, saying that for us, there is not a question whether it's dangerous or not. We know it is dangerous. The question is only of economic nature. Who is going to pay for these damages in the future when people are craving compensation from companies and from the state, the governments and so on? And they said, we don't want to take the risk of having to pay for all these damages. So in a way, you can say that already then they gave the final answer, what you are talking about, namely the risk of exposure from these modern gadgets. And they concluded it is very dangerous.